final.
I'm Joe Costello, CEO of Enlighted, and this topic, Internet of Things, is what we do. We do Internet of Things for commercial real estate. And the title of this came from a magazine article. The question is, smart buildings boring? And the truth is, smart buildings have been pretty boring. A lot of promise, no reality. That's actually true of the Internet of Things. And I've been a student of and passionate about Internet of Things since the early 2000s. I had an incubator where we did a whole bunch of studies on Internet of Things in 2000 through 2004, and finally gave up because we couldn't see how to make it real. And our thinking was mostly about the consumer. I think what's most interesting about the Internet of Things, I think actually the industrial commercial enterprise side is where this may actually take off in the marketplace. I joined Enlighted about 1.5 years ago because of that. As I said, they started out with the thought, let's make the Internet of Things, but the thing here is commercial real estate. And if you think about it, commercial real estate is probably the largest asset class on the planet Earth. So in terms of importance, and that's one of the keys with the Internet of Things, you got to pick a thing that's of huge economic value, and you probably couldn't pick something of bigger economic value than commercial real estate. What we actually do is we put this sensor network in that you see here. They look somewhat like that. We have a whole bunch of different SKUs for these things. We put in a sensor network. We put one of these little sensor modules at every single light fixture in a building. And it creates this wireless grid that's constantly scanning what's going on inside. Now, it's not creepy, like they're not cameras that are seeing every single move you have or pictures of you that invade your privacy. Every single one of these little sensors is like a facet of a fly's eye. That's the way to think about it. So you have this distributed fly's eye, all these things sitting around the building, and when you actually pull all that stuff together from the digital signal processing, you actually get an image which looks like, the way I describe it, it looks like old science fiction movies when aliens came to Earth, traveled hundreds of millions of miles, and for some reason had bad vision. All I could see is like heat blobs moving around. That's kind of what we see at the end of the day with this sensor network distributed through the building. So you're gathering this new information about what's going on in the building. We see what's going on with the building itself, light, heat, but also all the human activity, what people are doing, what assets are doing. So we see everything going on about the building. That enables us to build all kinds of really cool, interesting applications on top of things. As an example, we started out by doing lighting. That was the first application. We save about 70% of people's lighting energy on average because you never have to turn off a light. You never have to adjust the light. It's all automatically adjusted for you. We save 20 to 30% on HVAC. And those things are the trivial applications. Those are the simple ones. After that, it gets super exciting in terms of value. We do things like asset tracking. I'll give you an example of that with a hospital group that we just signed in the Midwest. I said, why are you so passionate about this asset tracking application? The answer was, their nurses, and this is true across all of North America, nurses spend on average 1 hour per day looking for stuff, an hour a day. It's an incredible waste of time. We have a solution that they've never seen before. They said, hey, look, we've tried things before. The joke at Mercy Hospital chain is that we need an asset tracking system to track our asset tracking systems, right? And so our system is embedded in the ceiling. You see this stuff all the time. Retail, when you were talking a little bit before about retail here, this does incredible things in retail. You see where people are all the time, where they're congregating, where they're spending their time, what's working, what's not working from a retail point of view. Now, I'll tell you, the thing that's gotten this thing going is the fact that we save energy. That's the thing that finances things. You know, the fact that we can save, I'm going to go back here, that we save the energy is what pays for the system. But people buy it for one of these higher value applications, whether it's security, whether it's asset tracking, something like that, people management, space planning. These are the things people buy it for. The other thing that was a critical thing in this company's history was figuring out how to get it to go in scale. And that was a big, big issue. Even though we save 70% of the energy, and that will pay for the systems, people weren't willing to put out the money. So we ended up doing something like what Solar City has done. We actually finance it for our customers. So we make it completely easy for people to put it in there. Financed for the customers, we do it paid for by the energy savings. That's the concept behind it. Today, this year we'll do about $60 million, but we're at an inflection point in the company. We'll probably do something like $150 million next year. We're right now raising a round of funding. It's, I think, our 4th round of funding. Draper DFJ was one of our investors 2 rounds ago. We're looking to raise about $25 million right today. With that, I'll open up to any questions. Yeah, the savings are what pays us back. Essentially, we essentially borrow the money, and the collateral for that is the energy savings. Because lighting, we actually use mostly lighting, a little bit of HVAC, but mostly lighting. And the beauty about lighting is you use the same amount of light every single year. It's pretty much a constant, so it makes a great collateralizable thing for a loan, right? So essentially, your question, our biggest customer to date for that has been AT&T. We've actually borrowed $75 million for AT&T so far, and it's all collateralized by the energy savings. And the banks lend us the money because they go, hey, look, I'm betting that AT&T will pay their lighting bill for the term of the agreement.
Question over here.
Yes, we've done installations in several countries in Europe, several in Asia, but so far it's almost all, except with one exception, it's all been U.S. companies with offices outside the United States. We just in February started building our own international team, and we'll start rolling out some direct international accounts this year, at the end of this year.
You make the hardware yourself, all the sensors and...
We do, from the point of view, we manufacture them, through an ODM. So we actually design them and have them built for us today. The sensor module actually has 4 sensors. We don't do any specialized sensors. They're off-the-shelf sensors. The difference is the digital signal processing software in the module.
I'm sorry. Another question is, what kind of network standard do you use?
Don't use any network standard. Great question. You cannot use any network standard. In our largest installations, it's thousands of these sensor modules in a building. There's no network standard, whether you use Zigbee, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. They will get completely overwhelmed with just the protocol of one of those standards when you get to 50 or 100 sensor modules. Our largest building has 22,000 sensor modules. So we had to build our own proprietary stack. We used the same physical layers as other people, but built the rest of the stack ourselves.
Thank you.